sounded like a fanciful urban legend, a vending machine where you could get something truly fantastical if you have the yen to spare. But upon thorough investigation, field agents of the SCP Foundation discovered that the machine was no legend and brought it into containment. It's the kind of thing you wouldn't look twice at. An utterly generic black vending machine with no viewing window and a handwritten sign in Japanese that reads, "Out of order." But what the vending machine looks like isn't nearly as interesting as what it's capable of. When you insert your money into the machine, and it's important to note that it only accepts Japanese yen, the machine will dispense some kind of snack, food, or drink item. However, over time, the more the machine is used in a single day, the more bizarre the items it spits out will become. Foundation researchers have attempted to figure out how the machine works, but their task has been incredibly difficult so far. It doesn't appear to contain any snacks. It doesn't seem to be made of any anomalous parts. Moreover, the machine simply won't work when the front panel is open, or when any surveillance equipment is placed inside. In other words, it's pretty much impossible to use this gift horse. Strangely, when unpowered, the vended products are likely to become stranger much faster. But let's be honest here. You're not here for vending machine mechanics 101. You want to hear about all the weird stuff that SCP-261 dispenses. And frankly, we're with you on that one. Lucky for all of us, this is one of the anomalies that the Foundation has truly extensive testing. Records on, providing us with a highlight reel of some of the strangest, wildest, and downright most interesting snacks and drinks straight out of another dimension. Bon appetit. Let's start off nice and easy with some of the snacks and drinks that are not only edible but also sound like they'd actually be pretty tasty. Like Pepsi Dragon Twist. A bottle of Pepsi soda with English packaging that tastes like dragon fruit. PepsiCo does not produce such a product, but honestly we wish they did. Same for Dark Side Cola, a clear liquid that becomes jet black shortly after being opened, which apparently tastes like your average can of Coke, with a touch of spice thrown in. But hey, not everybody likes cola. Maybe you're a maverick, a rebel. Only a soft drink with a formal title can quench your thirst. And as such, you prefer Dr. Pepper, in which case, maybe the vending machine will furnish you with an interdimensional Japanese product known as Dr. Pepper's Amusing Straw. This spatial anomaly wrapped inside a whimsical Dr. Pepper branded straw seems to contain far more liquid than should be able to fit in the straw. About 1 bottle's worth of soda, to be precise.
Damn.
A nice and convenient solution for whenever you need to get the fix that only an accredited doctor of popology can provide. And if you fancy something from the more intoxicating end of the beverage spectrum, for 600 yen you can get yourself a rare bottle of Billy Beer. It's just the thing for those who weren't alive during the Carter administration, but still want to try brew that was endorsed by the younger brother of President Jimmy Carter. This anomalous bottle of suds, which was bottled in the 1970s according to its label, came with a note reading, "I had this beer brewed just for me. I think it's the best I've ever tasted, and I've tasted a lot. I think you'd like it too. Billy Carter." Drinking the beer got a D-class intoxicated for 72 hours.
Oh,
Just
shit.
like your whistle and worked up a hunger in the process. Thankfully, SCP-261 has some delicious interdimensional food to satisfy your cravings. So for starters, how about a tube of the Little Bakery 7 grain? This small aluminum tube lets you squeeze out a blob of dough, which instantly rises and cooks itself into a tasty little loaf of bread.
Damn.
Testing has indicated that the bread is a little chewy, but still tastes completely fine. Not bad for a tube baked good. How about some seafood to go with that bread? Then for your
no thanks.
You can crack open a delicious pack of lemon clams. And
Ugh.
we mean crack very literally here. If you crack this bag of anomalous clams like a glow stick, they boil themselves. And once you open them, you're ready to enjoy a serving of tasty clams that have a slight lemon flavoring to them. Delicious.
That's weird.
Marvel comes back to the movies.
Good, I already watched it.
But if you're not that hungry and just feeling more like a snack than a full fancy dinner, the machine once put out the Lay's Bloomin' Onion. While it appears to be a normal onion, each layer of the onion is a different
chip.
flavor of chip, leading all the way into the middle.
That's
Truly a
cool.
gourmet snack with more layers than, well, Actually, exactly as many layers as an onion. And what about for those who are anomalously trapped in the year 2012 and are looking for a snack that is both tasty and meme-worthy? Well, you'd be lucky to receive a 700 yen bacon shirt. It's exactly what it says on the can. An edible shirt that both smells and tastes like bacon. It has no real side effects other than making you smell a little like bacon while you're wearing it. Though this could be a dangerous anomalous effect if you decide to walk through your local dog park while you're wearing it. We've been told it pairs well with a meat hat, teriyaki fedora, a size 64 trilby-style fedora made entirely out of teriyaki-flavored beef jerky. The outfit came flattened in a cardboard box bearing the tagline, "You can have your hat and eat it too," which is a pun that probably makes a lot more sense with their dimension. Still a bit hungry? Well, lucky for you, this magical vending machine has got you covered on dessert too. For 700 yen, the foundation was given an entire edible chess set.
Oh, hell yeah.
Pieces carved from what seemed like hard Pez-style candy. It's less checkmate and more check-ate. Another pun that I promise is funnier in another dimension. And for 300 yen,
I still get it.
You might walk away with a candy robot playset. These are hard candy components that can be put together to create functional, anomalous mini robots that move on their own, walking aimlessly and bumping into walls. But what about the full meal craving consumer on the go? Who wants both a dinner and a dessert combined into one disgusting package? Don't worry, the interdimensional vending machine has got you covered. Just 400 yen can net you some delicious turducken chocolate. These are balls of fried turkey filled with chocolate, a smaller ball of duck, more chocolate, and in the very center, a small ball of fried chicken. Even though
that's weird.
The product describes it as having 450% of
the heck is this?
Human's daily recommended fat intake. We'll leave it to you to decide if this is a decadent treat worthy of the gods or utterly disgusting. Maybe you're feeling a little cheeky though, or you need the perfect comedic dessert for your bachelorette party. The vending machine has a candy direct from an alternate Korea. A tasty, if slightly too sweet, chocolate candy shaped like a certain male organ. Filled with, we kid you not, liquid white. With FBN Direct,
liquid white chocolate.
Oh. For anyone who has both the sweet tooth and the sense of humor of a 12-year-old. Okay, these were definitely all weird treats, but let's get really, really strange now. From the disgusting to the confusing.
Can you just say bye, Johnny Wade?
To the straight up deadly. If you're a bit of a sadist, perhaps you're the kind of person who enjoys watching their snacks dying in front of them before they eat them.
What?
The vending machine provides an aluminum box with a viewing window and a red button on top. Inside are a collection of small furry creatures, each with a single big eye.
Okay.
The button is pressed, the creatures inside are abruptly superheated, cooking them all to death. At that point, the box opens, and the creatures are ready to eat.
What?
We were told they were crunchy, spicy, and tasted a little like beef. Maybe you're part of the slow food movement. For that, we recommend the delicious pile of slugs, which is exactly what it sounds like. This is a produce box, like the kind used for packing strawberries, except it's full of live slugs.
Ew.
There are both advantages and disadvantages to actually eating these slugs. The advantage is that they contain large amounts of vitamin C, E, and most of the B complex, which are all crucial to a healthy and balanced diet. The disadvantage is that they contain large amounts of arsenic.
What?
Which will kill you.
Dog park? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. I believe so, yeah. I'll let you know if I leave. I will. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Okay, well. The mozzarella stick, sure. I know where he came from.
Though, of course, if you still have a candy flavor, definitely, but you prefer your entomological trees a little more leggy, then maybe interest you in a fine caramelized spider for a modest 500 yen. It's full of deadly quantities of an unknown anomalous venom that's pretty much impossible to cure, but it's worth it for the sweet, sticky goodness that comes before death sets in. Another strange item dispensed by the vending machine is a tall metal aluminum canister with a ring bowl that, upon opening, had a violent chemical reaction with the air and triggered a large explosion. Apparently this particular beverage was never intended for oxygenated environments. The blast killed 2 researchers, resulted in the temporary suspension of testing. Though in a slight silver lining for this fiasco, the testing area did smell of citrus for a few days, which the janitors must have enjoyed as they cleaned up all the body parts.
Oh.
Another dangerous snack provided by the vending machine was a long tube of chips called triangles, not to be confused with any other long, two-faced chips made. When the tube was opened,
Yep, you now have revealed yourself like a dumbass.
Began compulsively eating them. When researchers ordered the D-class to stop, it seemed almost as if they couldn't. Regardless of the orders given to them, the D-class just kept eating. Even when guards terminated the D-class there and then, the corpse continued to eat chips out of the tube until it was physically pried out of their hands. All those salty Frangles had really worked up a thirst in you. Perhaps you can wash them down with a delicious can of Cherry Bomb, an intense cherry-flavored drink dispensed by SCP-261 for 450 yen. When a D-class sampled this delicious soda, they commented on it tasting strongly of cherry. A few moments later, their head exploded with the force of a stick of dynamite, coating everyone and everything around it in gooey head viscera. The resulting cleanup took an arduous 6 hours. But wow, was that cherry tasty. And finally, why not complete this anomalous vending machine feast with a 1,000 yen papier-mâché piñata, resembling a dead horse that comes ready to use with a baseball.
Dang it, I missed.
Everyone who saw the piñata fell compelled to beat it mercilessly with a bat, until candy began to
Beat it mercifully with a bat.
The 1,000th gift unleashed by SCP-261, and thus warrants
What a way to describe it. Beat it mercifully with a bat.
No hazardous properties ceased. There's a joke somewhere in there, but for the life of us, we're not sure we can find it. Oh well.
Wait, jerk and where?
All cognito-hazardous properties ceased. There's a joke somewhere in there, but for the life of us, we're not sure we can find it. Oh well. Maybe it's in another dimension. Now go check out SCP-978 Desire Camera and SCP-5031 Yet Another Murder Monster for more SCPs.
I don't understand. That's an alien spaceship. That's not a player. What?
What's the difference between your lawn and your lawn? This is going to be a hard one. Today we're going to talk about FNAF, like we have so many other times before on the channel. Speaking of, how many times have we talked about FNAF on this channel? Let's see.
Jesus. That is a lot.
43. For some reason I thought it was more. Wait. Oh, that's what it is. If you add the game theory videos and all the partner shows, we've technically done 49 episodes on FNAF. And, let me just say, this is not the big 50th episode that I really anticipated. For those of you who don't know, FNAF has been in the news a lot lately, and not for any good reasons, like the release of a new game, or them finally deciding to make the obvious call and cast me as phone guy in the upcoming movie. Hello? Hello? Consider that my audition reel, Blumhouse. I would also be willing to accept the role of the purple guy. Phone guy, Pat, Scott Coffin. Now, the reason it's been trending on Twitter and blowing up all over the blogosphere have centered around the creator Scott Coffin and his recent decision to retire from the series. You heard that right, friends. Scott, my longtime nemesis, is stepping down. Only one will remain standing. That one is me. He's actually retiring with plenty of money, so who's the real winner here? It's not me. As he himself said in his final post, and I quote, "I've had a blessed, fulfilling," it took me a minute to find it, I'm sorry. "I've had a blessed, fulfilling, and rich career. I've tried to make some good games, like the Big 2, and I've witnessed the creation of possibly the most creative and talented fan base on the planet. But here, on the 7th anniversary of the first game's trailer, I realized I missed a lot of things that I got to focus on before FNAF became such a success. I miss making games for my kids, I miss doing it just for fun, and I miss making RPGs even though I stink at it. All this is to say that I'm retiring." End quote. He goes on to thank everyone for their kindness, say that he's excited to spend time with his family, and assure everyone that FNAF is going to continue under the guidance of someone of his choosing. Scott, consider this channel my application for the role. All joking, but also kind of not joking aside, this alone would be a huge deal, right? One of the most successful indie developers of all time stepping down from this still mega popular series after 7 years, with a book series still being released until the end of the year, a new game on the verge of being released, and a movie that's still in the works. I mean, he takes his victory lap around the internet as everyone celebrates his
Why is he stuck there?
fades away to go spend time with his family doing whatever it is that indie devs do with their piles of cash. Buy a cereal wall, the candy room, bacon every day for breakfast. I don't know why I think that, but I just imagine that bacon is something that rich people have for breakfast every day because it's like the best food ever. But that's not the complete picture of what's going on here, because it's actually the circumstances around his retirement that caused the hashtag to trend. You see, in the days leading up to his announcement, word had gotten out that Scott had contributed sizable amounts of money to various...
Why, there's so many people here.
...in the years between 2016 and 2020. Using the website OpenSecrets.com...
You lied! You said you wouldn't... You said you wouldn't leave me, you just killed her. You lied.
Now, that on its own might not have been all that newsworthy. No, what made people sit up and take notice was who he had contributed funding to. Republican candidates like Ben Carson, Donald Trump, controversial political figures whose histories have been anti-civil rights over the years, especially as it relates to the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
Which, a large portion of the FNAF fan base is. And I've seen a lot of people online responding with a, "So what's the big deal to all of this news?" But you have to stop and actually think for a minute about the position of a lot of the LGBTQ fans of this franchise. This revelation understandably hurt a lot of members of the FNAF fan community, considering that Scott's franchise has been this welcoming and inclusive space for them. One where a lot of people have found the ability to express their unique identities. To know that their support of these games and their game's creator, especially the financial support that comes with that their dollars have wound up funding campaigns for people who are looking to withhold or remove their rights, to fund the elections of people who would forward legislation that treats them as less than human. Yeah, that's gonna feel really horrible. It's gonna feel like a betrayal. It's gonna feel like you had funded your own worst enemy. At first, people thought that Scott's account must have gotten hacked, right? There was no way that he could have done this. Or, at the very least, that maybe he donated to a blanket Republican fund where his dollars had gotten funneled into individual campaigns without his knowledge. But no, after a few days, Scott took to Reddit and affirmed that these were indeed his choices, which then just proceeded to blow the internet up even more. A few days later, he retired, and that was that. A confusing and awkward end to the career of someone who legitimately changed the face of horror and indie gaming forever. Now, a lot of you have been asking me for my response to the whole thing. The channel stopped covering FNAF, I still support Scott. How do I feel about all this? How should you feel about all this? And honestly, there is a lot to unpack here. A lot. One of the reasons it's taking me so long to respond is because I've had to sort it all out in my own head. I didn't really know how to feel. I've been teaching my son Oliver, who just turned 3 recently, about how sometimes you can feel multiple emotions at once and how that's confusing and how it's hard sometimes. And that lesson at 3 is still just as hard when you're 33. So I had to take time to do my own soul searching and do my own research, quite honestly. One of the great things about the internet is that it moves so fast, right? You need something and boom, it is right there available at your fingertips. But one of the awful things about the internet is that, boom, it moves so fast. There is no time to think. Everything requires an immediate response, a hot take, your knee-jerk reaction, a headline. Search trends last for like a day or two at best. New game releases are like old by the end of the week. New video, well, gotta be the first to like and comment without actually watching what it's about. There's no time for thought, for research, for introspection if you're going to be part of the conversation, or no time to look back and actually analyze the data. I mean, heck, by the time that you bothered to finish reading Scott's response to all this drama, he had already posted his retirement. So, since this is going to be a long and tricky episode, to say the least, let me start off by making it crystal clear that I am pro-LGBT rights. And you don't have to take my word for that. I was in theater for years before I started doing YouTube, and it is difficult to be a narrow-minded bigot in that industry.
Not all internet's got games. If you want less lag, if you want greater reliability, if you want to play like you've never played before, then play.
Member of the LA LGBT Center, and I attend their events because I support their mission. And most importantly, I've done the best I can to keep a sensitive ear open to LGBT audience members. And also to my team members when they tell me that something isn't okay, or no longer okay, or they explain an LGBT perspective that I don't know or understand because I don't live that. I don't have that experience in my life, so I'll never be able to know everything or be able to truly speak on behalf of people in that community, but the best I can do is to try and remain an ally who's always ready to be supportive and as sensitive as I can be. Anyway, I don't say all this to excuses or trying to defend myself by wrapping up in a rainbow flag. Actually, coming off of 5 months, it actually bothers me how so many companies just use identity politics to be trendy or try to sell more merch. It feels more like clout chasing to me rather than, actual stances on things. Now, I believe that if you want real change, it's not changing your logo to a rainbow for 30 days, but rather it's giving people of all types opportunities 365 days of the year, regardless of how they identify or who they love. And I'm proud to say that the team consists of people all across the spectrum. And I'm proud that they're here because they're talented, and they deserve the chance to show off their unique creativity. Which is why, before I get to addressing the actual hardest subject of all this, Scott himself, I think it's important to say this right up front, or I guess as up front as I can in this long of a video. I will still be covering and supporting FNAF as a franchise. Just like game theory has become so much more than just me sitting in my closet nerding out every week, and is now a collaboration of creative people coming from all different walks of life. Five Nights at Freddy's is much more than just a single guy living in Texas. I know it's easy to point at his little anim dude avatar and assign everything in the franchise to him. Heck, I've made a running gag out of our little rivalry over the years. But in reality, Scott's just a figurehead, a visual shorthand to represent everyone who is now instrumental to the running of this franchise. All the authors and illustrators of the book, other game developers, merch companies, the Fazbear spin-off universe of fan games, each employing dozens of people who use the franchise as their launch pad for their livelihoods, or as their own personal creative outlet. By not supporting the franchise as a whole, I'm not supporting those creators. And even more importantly, it's also that I wouldn't be supporting the community itself.
Okay, I get it. Now I'm bored now. I'm bored now. Ooh, snake eyes. Wait, what was I doing? Oh, right. Mission landed. Believer bitch.
Max, maybe you can join me. Dude, there's rankings, and Ghost Rider is ranked #1 globally. I have a score of 20,000, and you know I've played a lot of Uno. I'm ranked 5,624 in the world. Nearly top 5,000 Uno players.
Nice.
The guy in the top, though, he has 79... Wait, hold on. 79 trillion points.
What? Okay, Noga, we're gonna join at the same time.
And hopefully get the same loud, even though we're in both two different countries. But let's go.
I am not on your team.
I'm with Dying Soul and Dying Boo and outclassed. Oh no, dude. Actually, maybe we should like team up and bully and 1v1 to get people quicker. That's what I think we should do. Oh, let's go.
Can I just start it?
No, we can. Oh no!
No!
Yes!
Yes.
I don't know who you are, but thank you. We're so lonely.
Alright!
We're so lonely without Valentine. Oh, I had a +4! I hate this already. Oh, someone came in. You got jealousy.
Enjoy, man.
Thank you, dude. What's that? Oh, that's alright.
You like that? You like that?
No, you don't. Man. Is it yellow 8 or 9?
What the hell was that?
No.
Okay.
This is cheating. This is like insider trading, though. I don't want to be a part of that.
Stock can only go up.
But I know that you have a +2.
Yes, sir. This ain't cheating, no. This ain't cheating. Oh! Dude, they did some insider trading themselves.
I deserve that.
Why is that guy's thing so sparkly? See the way he doesn't have a profile picture? Look how sparkly it is.
I thought you meant like...
Well, look how sparkly it is.
Yeah, it's sparkly. It's because it's their turn. I thought you were talking about like some cool thing.
Well, that is cool, because you don't get it if you have a profile picture. Who had the +4? It wasn't you, Moo. You have it now, don't you?
What?
I know it! It was Della Sleaze, dude. It's the sleaze ball up there at the +4. Filthy Della Sleaze, man. So we've got Della Sleaze. That's going to be his nickname. And then we got...
Yeah.
What do we got to get for Shinobu? Simp Obu? It's more complicated, so we can roll off the phone.
And also just not good.
Oh, yes, that
What the
was...
heck is that?
What about Soinobu? Instead of Shinobu?
Oh, it's Ragnarok.
We got Soinobu and Della Sleaze. New name. You could be Moo Puckle.
Still gotta get that. Gotta get more money.
Why are you ignoring my really good nickname for you? Moo Puckle.
Why did they play that?
Don't ignore it. You know it's good.
Sure. Oh no, you have 2 blues, huh?
No.
You sure about that?
No, I have 2 blues and 1 red. Idiot.
Got him!
Oh, thank you.
I could get SMG limbs.
Get away from blue.
I had the worst fucking SMG in the game. Whoa, what the fuck was that?
To be fair, the blue I was gonna play was
Blue 7.
that blue 7. So
Yeah, you were like an honest bad friend there. Nice, dude. This game is reaching its end.
we getting there.
Oh, I'm making a blue. I'm sorry. Oh, what color? What do you have? What do you have?
I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna cheat.
But I'm here to help.
Oh, that's not cheating.
Oh,
It's a blue 3.
oh yeah. Oh, you changed
Yeah,
pretty quick there. Here, pick up some more cards, fellas, please. Yeah, sorry. No!
Oh no! What have you done?
Oh, we're actually screwed here. Oh, clutch up, baby! Let's go! Let's go! You wouldn't take my beautiful red 4, red 8. Here you go, dude. Jump in. I got you, bro.
No, don't cheat. If you do a red 4, I'm not jumping in.
Okay, alright, I won't.
Oh, I mean, you could have kept a red.
No.
Now you're helping the other guy making a blue.
No.
Oh no!
You know what he has? He has a wild. He has a wild. He's finishing on a wild.
Oh! You have a +2. You have a +2.
I do. I could have let him win there, but he's a soy boy, so I can't. This is an intense game, Ramuno. This is intense.
He's got a plus. He's got a. I'm gonna take a picture of his cards real quick.
Oh my god. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Whatever you... No, Clap. Don't. Whatever you do, don't cheat.
Oh, look, David. My delivery's here. You got your birdseed bread, your birdseed butter.
Okay.
Let me take a picture of these cards here. Oh, okay. What color do you need?
Don't worry about it. I don't need your help, Nogla. I don't need your help!
It sounds like you got my help right there. Sounds like I helped you.
Are we doing these same people, or should we try to find
Oh
them?
yeah, I want to beat him again.
Go ahead and take them. Take them. I dare you. Enjoy. Oh!
Take a photo.
Here, you can just see him.
Oh wow, thanks man.
Enjoy.
Oh damn, why would he give you this? You like you or
I
something?
don't know!
This is an amazing hand. Oh my god, is he gonna take it back?
Oh, he's taking mine.
He must be a fan of you or something. He just keeps swapping with you. He's like, oh god, loose touch, deep talk. I'll be abusing the shit out of this man. I see a path to victory. Sorry about that, dude. Sorry about that. He's so constipated. No! No!
Hello?
No! I must have that hand back. Even if it has to go the whole way around.
What are you doing?
Oh my gosh! Oh, this hand is so good! Oh, this hand is so good!
What have you done?
I'm sorry.
Oh!
I'm sorry, I've already won. I stopped it.
Why'd you do that?
I stopped it. He's gonna have to pick up now. See? See? Look how much he's picked up. 6. That's pretty good. I saved the game. Move.
Betrayal.
Okay.
Truth be told, I didn't want to do that. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's alright. You know, you're still nice and terrorized.
Well, that's not hard.
Yeah, it's not. It goes Hitler, Stalin, terrorism. Generally, the two worst people in the world I know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, no, change. The list is changed. It's Hitler, Stalin, and Lou fucking Tucker. Oh, you dude.
I did it for the clip, okay? Let's see what they're working. Not great. Wow, these are horrible.
Can't be that bad. Yeah, let me have a look. Oh.
Have you ever seen
How is that
many
possible?
of the same color?
Dude, there it has 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, reverse, +2, all in blue.
I'll get blue for you.
Yeah, this might be the most cursed Uno hand I've ever seen.
Do you have a blue 4?
Yeah. Dude, if you put down any number, I've got it. What are you on about it? There you go. And you son of a bitch. Ah! Joke's on you once again! Once again, dude, the game just wants me to win. It gives me the most cursed hand, but then the best draws. Oh, this is great. Oh my gosh, dude! Oh, dude, this is crazy. No! No! Oh, what did he do? He just celebrates the win! What did you do? What the fuck? What are you doing? What the fuck? Dude, they're in a Discord like us. They were just helping each other the whole time as well. This is why I told you we needed to cheat.
We back in this.
Back in this boy, we back in this boy.
See if he can have another win handed to him.
Like so much.
Oh no. The change, I heard it.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance!
But not for me. Sills window
Got cards, yeah, I know.
got a yellow 7.
God, he's got cards. God. Oh, Dennis Fleece is the one. He's got 4 of us? What happened?
Oh, this changes things.
He just saw the amount of cards he has and he's like, yeah, I'm good, bro. Oh, we're getting someone. Oh, Max.
And welcome to the lobby.
Where? Let's go, Max! Let's go! You want me to plus 2 you?
Sure.
You have a plus 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, it's hacked.
It's easy to be unsafe.
Mom, what's your...
Very nice, very nice. Damn, dude, Max is gonna come into the game and just outright win it. Never mind. Never mind. Those got a plus 4 and they ain't saving him if you move.
What? No.
Are you gonna plus 4 me now?
I thought about it.
I'll take the plus 4.
There you go.
And then I'll change it to blue and you can win so I can go and watch my soccer.
Wow, what you just call it?
Soccer!
Oh no.
You're gonna factor on a lot of cards here because I have a lot of runs.
Oh, what have you done?
You're probably going to at least 10 here. Oh, 8. That's alright. That's not too bad. Here, go again.
Oh!
Go again.
Such a dick.
Oh, there you go. You're alright. You're alright. You're chilling. You're vibing, bro. You're vibing. I have a plan. You can't Uno if I do this. Boom. Oh, hit this ball, bitch! Oh, Swindle!
Look on the draw, baby.
Oh, damn, Max! Hey, you guys are in the pro league now. You're in the pro league. See that one next to my name? That is the number 1 in move. You want to win?
I have a reverse, or should I draw?
Do nothing. Do nothing. Just let me handle it. Just let me handle it. I got this, alright? You're gonna give me half of the sponsorship you wrote for, right?
You could have won.
I could have. You're gonna get half the sponsorship, right? Half, right?
I'll draw.
Do it. Do it. I dare you. Is that how much money means to you? Oh, shit.
What are you doing?
I want to... I want to take
I don't have plus 2. I'm just gonna throw it down.
Ah, dude, if he is a blue, we're done, bro. We're done. Oh my god.
I can't win. Like, I literally can't win with this. So,
Okay, you just have my hand, man. Right? And then,
so you play the 0 and I get a 10.
yeah, wow. Wow, and I get half the sponsorship money.
This video is not sponsored. This isn't the one.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Why did you want to record Uno?
Because I just like playing Uno with you, man.
What the fuck? I know that's a lie. Because it's my birthday, right? Isn't that why?
Is it your birthday?
Yeah, dude, that's why you're here. You wanted to play Uno with me on my birthday because it's my favorite game? Woo! You wanted to beat me in Uno on my birthday?
The right way!
Thanks, man, for beating me at Uno on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, dude.
Happy birthday. Hope you enjoyed that present.
This fucker has a great present, too. Thank you.
And, as always, I hope you enjoyed.
Meet Google Fi, a phone plan by Google. With Fi, only pay for the data you use. Or go unlimited. Either way, you always get nationwide 5G coverage, privacy and security features, and family features included. Sign up today.
Welcome to the Amazon Fulfillment Center Tour. We're really excited to be showing you around our...
Oh, I beat it. Nice. Jeez, how many more freaking ammo boxes? Not even close. Shit. Jesus, that is a lot of challenges I need to do. honestly don't know. What did I place here? Still have a lot of fucking foot to be traveling on.
We all want easy. That's why Power Stop makes it easy to treat your...
Okay, what time is it? Because I'm about to lose consciousness here.
That we live in just one of billions of universes that exist. In fact, some theorize that every time you make a decision, a universe is born. Some scientists even think that one day we may be able to visit. But unlucky, perhaps unlucky people are all...
Why the hell is Stallone carrying that stuff?
Doppelgangers to roads leading to anywhere. Today, we review our list of top 10 real humans that might be from a parallel universe. I'm your host, Victor, and let's get started. Number 10, the Stone Cabin.
That's a stupid emote.
That friend in your life that will save you from a potential horror film, you know? Like that friend who says, no, let's not go into the basement after we hear creepy whispers. Let's not stop on the road after we might have seen a werewolf. Thankfully, this woman had that kind of friend, but was it too late? According to a BuzzFeed article, one night, a woman and her friend were camping when they heard strange music. They followed it to a small stone cabin where they reported seeing people dancing wearing fashions from the 17th century. The one woman, curious, tried to enter the cabin, but thankfully her friend pulled her back. But her body had already gone halfway inside, and when her friend removed her, the one half of her body that made it in was paralyzed. Number 9, Lorena Garcia. Imagine waking up one morning and slowly realizing that everything around you looks a little different. Well, that's exactly what happened to Lorena Garcia. Upon hearing her story, it's hard to deny that this is anything but a case of multiverse travel. She woke up one morning to find minor differences in her bedsheets, pajamas, which fair enough, she might have just been groggy, but then she went to work, and her office wasn't hers because she worked in an entirely different department under a boss she never met, though she worked in the same building. Shaken, she goes home only to find her ex at her apartment. But they're dating still, and her new beau is nowhere to be found. I can only imagine how stressful this day must have been. It is no wonder that Lorena came to the conclusion that she did, that she is from a parallel universe, and that she must somehow travel here in the sleep. Number 8, Yopar Boran. When Yopar Boran was questioned by authorities, no one could make any sense of his answers. He spoke some strange version of German and claimed to be a part of the world called Sakria. Sakria was a part of an entirely separate continent, he said, and he began recounting the differences between our world and his. He said they had a Christian-like religion and were separated from Europe by a vast ocean. The reason for his visit was to track down his long-lost brother, but he got lost after going through a traumatic shipwreck. He tried looking on any maps he could find, but could not trace his journey on any of the maps found. Whoever he was and whatever happened to him, Bourne is often used as evidence of universal travel. Number 7, Pedro Ramirez. One of my biggest fears is getting so lost I can't find my way back. So, while coming across this story, I was flooded with some pretty terrifying images. This next story happened in 1986 to a man named Pedro Ramirez while he was driving from Seville to Alcalá de Guadalajara, which is where he lived. While driving around a curve in the road, as usual, he suddenly came onto a 6-lane highway, something he was obviously not used to. But then around him, he started seeing 20-story housing units, weird, unfamiliar structures, and grass that stood high. Soon after noticing these strange things, the inside of his car suddenly became very hot, and he started hearing voices telling him that he was being transferred to another country. He then found a place to stop so he could get his bearings, and once he got back into his car, he saw a sign out of nowhere with 3 different locations. He took the one that said to skip before because he recognized it, but drove only for a little while only to suddenly stop, realizing that he arrived outside his home, not knowing how he got to it.
Hi. We are Woodchuck.
Ah! Man!
It makes me want to
move.
Oh my god!
He tried to retrace his steps, but the signs were nowhere to be found. Number 6, Carol Chase McElhenney. I'm getting the sense here that if you are looking to establish an alternate universe, then just get in your car and drive down a lonely highway. In the case of a woman named Carol Chase McElhenney, it was nostalgia that brought her down a much distorted memory lane. While driving towards Paris, California, she saw a sign leading to her hometown of Riverside. Memories flooded back, she decided to visit. When she entered the town, everything looked remarkably different. The houses had all changed, her childhood home as well as her grandparents' house was grown over with weeds, and University Avenue, a place known for its restaurants and businesses, was covered in graffiti. But not only that, the people looked disturbed, and Carol had a weird feeling. She spoke to them, she didn't want to do. So she found her way out of the town, back to Paris, missing the sorry sight as a child left abroad. Only years later, Carol's father passed away, and she was buried in her grandparents' plot in Riverside. This time, when she returned, things were back to normal. How she remembered it. Carol believed she was in a parallel universe to show the ultimate reality of a movie. Number 5, passport. It is not uncommon to see name documents all the time. Passports or report cards. Jokes, I'm kidding, I got your name, okay? Anyway, back to the story. When a man showed up in Japan with a strange business passport belonging to an entirely unknown person called Florence, he thought it was story. The man told customers through the internet business, and despite the passport being strange, he had with him multiple legitimate and currency from here to the country. It was going to take a while to sort through everything until they set him up in a hotel that was 15 stories up above the street. This is important to know because when they came to collect him, the man was nowhere to be found. There was something eerie and beautiful about driving on the highway. Only possibilities unless you're three women driving across the desert in Nevada but found themselves taking a wrong turn. So before, the road was black asphalt. Now, the stretch in front of them was stark white cement. But not only that, instead of a desert, a rolling field and a lake surrounded them. They were clearly lost, and while driving by a weird, illegible neon sign, decided to stop and ask.
10, not bad.
But then suddenly, a group of strange, tall men poured out of the door looking distressed. They were waving their arms at the girls, but as they got closer, they realized that they weren't anywhere close to being human. They raced back to the car, passing strange, egg-shaped, tricycle-like vehicles like nothing they'd ever seen before. They pressed their foot to the gas and didn't look back after that, and before they knew it, they were back in the desert once again, with nothing but road and strange possibilities behind them. Number 3, green-skinned children. The green-skinned children is a legend from the village of Woolpit, Suffolk, England. The story goes that in the 12th century, 2 children, a brother and sister, suddenly appeared in the village. They both had green-colored skin, wore weird clothes, and spoke an entirely unknown language. Despite their oddities, the village took them in, though initially refused any knowledge food offered to them. Eventually, due to the likeness of rottenness, and then soon altogether food. The more they ate and the longer they stayed, the more the green color began to fade. Soon after this, though, the brother got sick and died. But the 2 children eventually learned to speak English, too, just enough to explain where they were from. They spoke of a place where it was perpetually twilight, and had been helping their dad tell when a loud bang sounded, and they turned up in Woolpit and came to this food. The young girl ended up growing old in Woolpit, even marrying, though people still didn't know.
You're not a dish. You're a man. Most name brand bars and body washes you rub on.
So where did you leave from? Number 2, the doppelganger. How I Met Your Mother fans may hear the word doppelganger and recall the series of episodes where each of the leads meet their doppelganger. Hilarity ensued. What if everyone but you has met him? In this next story, it certainly seems as though something stranger is afoot. Reddit user, solid name man, used to work at the dog rescue place in the Midwest, close-knit with 10 employees. Allegedly, the place they worked was haunted. But after this experience, he and his fellow employees believe that this place housed a veil between our world and another. His co-workers would often see him or a version of him in 2 places at once. He would be out in the front yard, only to be found moments later at the opposite end of the house. Here is just one example he recounts, and I quote, "Someone watched me go into the closet holding the water tank and followed me, asking me some questions about work matters. As soon as they turned into the closet, I was gone. I hadn't walked into that closet at all around that time, let alone on that day." Unquote. Eventually, he made the difficult decision to leave the establishment, only to hear that his friends still continued to see him there Number 1, the nerdy kid Gavin. This next story is from Reddit user Theus and tells the tale of his suspicious friend, Gavin, or at least that's really as we can get it. Gavin and Theus became very close friends, brought together by their love of World of Warcraft. Wow, what a great friendship. Gavin, though a bit awkward, was great to play with and apparently was a genius with an IQ of 180. One day, our Reddit user went over to his house unannounced to see if Gavin was around. He was surprised to see an older man of about 40 answer the door, who looked eerily similar to Gavin. He immediately assumed that he was Gavin's father, but then soon recalled that he didn't come back. Uncle, perhaps? When he asked to see Gavin, the man claimed he was Gavin, but upon explaining that he was looking for a 16-year-old Gavin, the man began to look uneasy. Theus asked when Gavin would be home, and upon hearing the answer, returned at the appropriate time. This time, his 16-year-old friend opened the door, and when he asked about why he wasn't home earlier, Gavin said he had been home and that no older Gavin lived there. The two never told anyone the story, and Gavin is currently studying quantum mechanics, so could it be that Gavin cracked the code and found a way to visit an alternate universe? No. What do you think, friends? Do you believe in parallel universes? Have you had any experiences of your own? Let us know in the comments, and like, subscribe, comment, it really helps us out. We love you for it. I've been your host, Rachel Fisher, and if I don't see you again in this universe, perhaps I'll see you again. Take care, everyone. Stay hydrated. I love water. The green-skinned children is a legend from the village of Wolcott, Suffolk, England. Oh, God. The green-skinned, despite their oddities, the village took them in. Despite their oddities, the village took them. I hadn't walked into that closet at all. Around that time. Oh my God.
Whoa, you got on $68 shorts. Fabletics men want to learn how we can make our new fundamental shorts.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I hope you're all sitting down, because today's first story comes from r/ProRevenge, but forget that, it's not important. The story itself is probably the most mental story I've ever read. If you were thinking about clicking off this episode, this is not the one to click off, yeah? That's yesterday's video, or tomorrow's. This one, you stick around for, because today's first story will shock you to your very core, trust me. And I have just inadvertently mugged off my other videos, but who cares? This story is insane. Here we go. A dangerous game. This is my first post here. I decided that this may be another method of catharsis for me. I do have many stories tested throughout my life that I want to share, but this was the first one that came to mind. This one has to do with my childhood and dealing with a psychotic and racist aunt and uncle. When I was a child, I was often assaulted and picked on for being a mixed-blood kid, a mulatto, by both my own family and kids in school. There are many things that my aunt and uncle did to me and got away with, which I will share the highlights of later. This story, however, is not one of those. My uncle was the alpha tormentor between the two. Both my aunt and uncle still live with my grandparents, so there was no way to avoid them, because I had to go to my grandparents' house after school while my dad was still at work. My uncle liked to play games with me in order to turn me into a fearless pig dog, as he put it. When I asked him one day why he was tormenting me so much, that was his answer. When he said that, the fact he was being completely honest as well as smiling about it, I decided right then and there that this man was my enemy and I would have to deal with him accordingly. If he wanted a pit dog, he was going to get one. After overcoming my shock of his answer, I said, F you, uncle, just F you. One of the games that he loved to play was chasing me down the road to my grandparents' house, which felt like an honest attempt to literally run me over. He'd always do this as I was walking home to my grandparents' house after school. Luckily, most times he ended up just chasing me off the road. The game started like this. He would stop his truck at the end of the road that my grandparents' place was on and rev the engine of his truck 3 times. That was the signal that the game was about to begin. After the 3rd rev, he would hit the gas and come screaming down the road towards me. I would have to leap off the road to avoid being ran over. After at least a couple of months of dealing with this, I'd had enough. I was tired of feeling afraid of walking down that street. I thought it over for a while before I decided I would get revenge. On the days when I wasn't being chased, I started to count how many steps it took to get to an old stump on the side of the road that was hidden by briars. I'd walk backwards just so I could eye the distance between the end of that road and the stump, so I'd know when to run. 17 steps. It would take 17 steps from the time he would start roaring down that road at me to get to that stump. The day finally came about a couple of weeks later. When I heard his truck, I wasn't afraid anymore. I was angry. As per normal, he revved his engine 3 times, then gunned it around the corner. I waited until he was close enough before I ran as fast as I could up the side of the road and behind the stump, throwing my backpack into a deer trail I could jump into in case my plan failed. Then I quickly turned towards the stump and the oncoming truck bearing down on me. As expected, he followed me up the side of the road, too fixed on me to pay attention to where he was going. The next few moments were beautiful. The briars parted like the Red Sea, and to my delight, I saw his eyes go wide as he realized what he was about to smash into. He yanked the steering wheel to the left, his front right tire going over the stump, which launched him into the air. As he flew past me, I could see the look of terror on his face, and, grinning madly, I began to shout insults at him as his truck nearly flipped in mid-air. Instead of flipping though, the truck roughly came back down on 4 wheels, and he continued down the road to my grandparents' house, and parked in the gravel driveway. I grabbed my backpack, ran up the trail, and hid. I didn't come out until after dark, when my dad came to get me. I knew the sound of my dad's car, a Datsun B210, so when I heard him coming up the road, I immediately came out, waved him down, and quickly jumped into the passenger seats. My dad asked me, concerned as to why I was out there. At first, I just kept telling him over and over that we needed to go straight home, and under no circumstances go to my grandparents' house. When my dad kept asking why, I finally told him what had happened. Without another word, he turned the car around, silently fuming, and drove us home. I don't know if my dad talked to my uncle after what happened, but what I do know is that game never happened again. That game, at least. You know, when I think of playing games with my family, I tend to think of, Monopoly, I don't know, maybe Cluedo, not trying to run over your nephew with a truck. That doesn't really spring to mind. Genuinely, I don't understand it. I'm just completely lost for words. What was the intention? What's the joy out of doing that for your uncle? What if something goes wrong and you legitimately run over your nephew and kill him? That's you done for life, and your nephew is dead. So many questions. So little answers. Genuinely though, that story just completely speaks for itself. There's nothing more I even need to say. Let's carry on with the video. Now moving on to our second story of revenge. Bully me into selling you my car? You annoyed the wrong mama bear. So, about 8 years ago, I was selling a used car. The engine light was on, the AC needed recharging, and the fuel pump or something was out. So I go to my local trusted sales site. Ad goes up with a few pictures and the words, I work weird hours, so I may not be able to accept a phone call. Please, only text me. Yay to working swings and midnights, right? It was actually college classes, but hey, same thing for me. So, a few days in, I get a pretty standard text. Hi, I'm Matt. Is your car still for sale? Now, Matt isn't his real name, but you get the idea. So I text back that it is. A few standard texts about price, why the engine light is on, who you get the quote from. I listed an approximate price on the repairs as quoted from my trusted mechanic, and whatnot, go back and forth. The next day, I get a text from him saying, are you going to take all your rubbish out the car before you sell it to me, or is that my job? Unwarranted hostility. Really? What the heck, man? Now, he's not the only interested party, so I text him back, I'm not selling the car to you, so don't worry about it. I never said I'd sell it to him. He never asked if he was the only interested party, and others were arranging test drives already. I didn't need him and his less than full price, partial commitments. And the stuff he was complaining about is 3 textbooks and a bag I keep clothes in. 4 things! This guy didn't like to take no for an answer, and starts calling and texting about how my car's paint is peeling. Yeah, true, but the pics and description said so. And how dare I ask so much? $1,000 for a POS car. I started replying for a time, telling him he wasn't going to get the car, that I had other interested buyers, so he didn't need to worry about it, etc. then things got personal. This site gave you the option to link to Facebook, so you could post at both places at the same time. So I had. I didn't have my privacy settings turned down, as it was still early into Facebook's absolute reign, and I actually trusted them at the time. Silly me, I know. Look, I hadn't anticipated that he'd be able to find my info through the website's post and find my name, my location, pictures of my kid, my mother-in-law's obits, etc. Surprised me, he did. He starts texting me about how I should be ashamed of myself for saying no to him, a muscular dude, and me being a quite round female, okay? Thing is, he'd actually included a picture in one text, and he wasn't the muscular-built man he claimed to be. He looked like a beanpole with 2 ab muscles, so what the F, dude? He asked me if I even knew everything about cars, or if I made the post while on my period, so I didn't know what I was talking about. He texted that I should be lucky I was already married, or else he would come to my house and show me how a real man handles a little female dog. Now he got close, but didn't have an address, and the way my address pulls up on GPS, he'd never find my apartment, thankfully. Small side info. Since I was in college at the time and needed a more flexible schedule, I worked as a school crossing guard. Every 2 weeks or so, we'd go in to sign our time cards in order to get paid. This crossing guard gig was a hire through my local PD. Now, not all crossing guard gigs are the same, but this one was. During one of these visits into the office, I was using my phone while I was waiting for my boss to get to me, my name being low on the alphabet. I hadn't yet blocked the dude, as it hadn't been long since this started, and I was hoping it would fizzle on its own. I didn't check my phone in class, choosing to turn it off to avoid ADHDing on it the entire day, and I was often flooded with several hours of texts all at once. What I saw on my phone after I turned it on drove me over the cliff. He started texting about pictures I posted on Facebook about my 8 or 7-year-old son. He just majorly crossed the line. The cleanest version of his text included things like, "Your kid is just as ugly as you are. I hope you don't plan on him leaving home to get a wife anytime soon." And how a smudge of dirt on his face from a day at the zoo looked like I'd beat him. "I didn't sell you a car, and you're taking out your rage by threatening to R-word me and accusing me of beating my kid? Oh, hell no." Apparently, I was loud when I said what I did, because my boss stepped right over to me next and asked what was wrong. Great person, 10 out of 10, would boss again. I told her that I was getting abusive texts from a rando that tried to buy my car. I told her I was about to erase the text and block him, but she's like, "No, wait, don't do that, let me see your phone." I'm so happy I didn't end up deleting them, because this next part still makes my heart sore. I offer, and she takes my phone, reading all the sick and vile things he texted me. She tells me to wait until she's cleared the lobby of the other crossing guards, so I do. She then tells me to follow her behind the security doors at the PD station, still having my phone. Now, I don't know what's happening, but I liked and trusted her, so I do. I follow her back to her office, where she works on her computer, referring my phone on occasion. She asks if all I have is the phone number, or if I got his name too. I tell her I only got a first name, and scroll to the text where he introduced himself. A semi-uncomfortable amount of time later, she hands back my phone. Something to mention, my boss isn't just a secretary. I didn't know it at the time, but she's actually a full-on lieutenant in the local PD. She came up the ranks from patrol, moving to a position where she exclusively investigated child, elder, or disabled abuse claims before moving into her current death position. Needless to say, she didn't take people threatening harm to kids lightly. Now, because I hadn't blocked the number, I still had the text messages with the dude's name, and she'd used it to cross-search him and the phone number. Long story short, she knew exactly who he was. She says not to worry, but don't delete or respond to his texts anymore. She had it. When it got worse, I should call her or 911 as appropriate right away. I'm concerned and happy she has the situation in hand. I leave and go to class. When I'm back to the office to sign my next time card, 2 weeks later, I had several unread texts from the guy. I'd filtered them so I didn't see them pop up, and I hadn't read them. I had sold the car for full asking price, and all but forgotten the entire situation. My boss tells me to wait for her again, as she had something else for me to sign, and I again returned to her. Briefly explains that what she had for me was an actionable complaint that she needed me to sign from my issue 2 weeks ago. I remember everything all over again. She must see my face, because she tells me not to worry, and that she can tell me what's going on more after I actually sign the form. So I do. Now guys, this is the best situation anyone could have asked for. The phone number tied to many people, as the provider was known for cheap self-service for those that were desperate for a way to contact people, services, or employment. But with the name Matt, again a fake name guys, she was able to find out who was messing with me. She then got a driver's license, which led to an address, which led to a police report for possible domestic violence. Fall down the rabbit hole some more, and you find out that this dude had 5 kids by 4 women, and he was in arrears on his child support to them all. He hadn't been paying for over 10 years, and it was in the neighborhood of 30 to 50k, if memory serves. But he somehow, just 2 weeks ago, requested a title transfer for a new to him, quite fancy old car. I don't remember the kind, but think high-end car show and massive insurance premiums. Being so far in arrears meant that my boss was able to place a seizure order on the car so it could be sold to pay back the child support. Brilliant. One of the baby mamas lives in a state where fleeing child support meant you could have a warrant issued for your arrest. When my boss called the interested parties in that state to see if they wanted her to execute the arrest warrants, they said yes, with much haste. That was a funny turn of phrase, so I always remember it. One conversation later, and my boss was able to determine that he was using the brother's social security number on his employment forms to avoid child support garnishments. This is all sorts of illegal. So she notified the guy's HR department so it could be corrected. They informed her he would be fired for fraudulently submitting false documents. She then told me that about 4 days ago, she had executed the warrant on the dude for felony child abandonment, and that the state he was to be held for was already en route to pick him up. It carried an 8 to 12 year sentence, and he still had to pay back his child support. I could have dealt with the comments. I could have dealt with the not taking no for an answer. Even dealt with the cyber stalking. A little. But when your twisted mind okays you to bring my kid into the picture, you've crossed the line. If you would have stopped at no, you wouldn't be in jail right now. And there we go, another great story to round off today's episode. Guys, before you go, comment down below, where would you have drawn the line on this creepy person? For me, honestly, earlier in the story, I was thinking to myself, I didn't say it, but I was just thinking, just block him, move on with your life. But ultimately, as you can see, it's led to a really positive outcome. And if OP had blocked him and forgotten all about it, him being in jail would never have happened, and he would never have seen the repercussions for his horrible actions. So honestly, well done for not blocking him. But you get what I'm saying though, because for me personally, I would have been like, I don't want to deal with this bloke, just block him and move on. But by not doing that, he's now in jail for 8 to 12 years. Would you have stuck it out, or would you have blocked him? Let me know down below. OP, well done for not doing it. Amazing, amazing stuff. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this one. I really hope you have enjoyed it. In this
Who here wants to take a trip to Chernobyl? I certainly don't. That place is still highly radioactive, and it's said to be for another 1,000 years. Today we'll be looking at dark and scary things found in this radioactive area. From haunted abandoned buildings to an infamous cryptid. Let's talk about this and more only in today's video. Top 10 dark things found in Chernobyl, part 3. Hey everyone, what's up, and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and wait, before we get on with this video, I have some very exciting news. If you didn't know, I have my very own reaction channel called Peach. You'll get to know me on a more personal level and see me talk about some weird, funny, and just plain wacky content. So make sure you guys go head on over to Peach and subscribe. Now let's get on with the video. Starting off this countdown, we have the residents. Believe it or not, but there are people that still live in Chernobyl, even though it's highly dangerous to do so. It's estimated that there are around 130 to 150 people currently living there. Many of them are older women. In fact, they have been given the name Chernobyl's babushkas. Now, you may be wondering, how do they live there when there's no operating grocery store and stuff like that? Well, they live off of the land. They are still farming their family's land. The thing is, the water and soil there is still highly contaminated. So why would they take this risk? Well, one of the elderly ladies featured in a documentary about Chernobyl's babushkas said, and I quote, "Radiation doesn't scare me. Starvation does." After the nuclear disasters, these ladies fled their home, but over the years they have all come back. Despite there being no hospitals or grocery stores, they don't care. They just want to be on their home land. And turns out their bodies have somewhat adjusted to the high levels of radiation there. In our ninth spot, we have the radioactive animals. If you guys are liking this video so far, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up. The nuclear power plant explosion has lasted from these animals. First off, families had to flee their home and leave their pets behind. As a result, a number of stray dogs that are descendants of those dogs still roam the area. But it's not safe to pet them, no matter how cute they are. And sadly, because of their exposure to the radiation, they don't live a long life. And many of them have health issues. Another animal that is highly radioactive there are the boars. This is because they eat grubs, tubers, and roots in the soil where the radioactive isotopes have settled. Not only that, but birds and rodents have been found with tumors and cataracts, all from being exposed to the radiation in the area. Coming in at number 8, we have the creepy doll beds. There are a bunch of people who go around Chernobyl purposely trying to make it creepier. They have been given the name the disaster tourists. They have been known to take creepy old dolls and put them on windowsills or hang them from buildings, etc. They also did this really creepy thing in an abandoned school. They rearranged a kindergarten classroom and placed a doll on every single one of those dilapidated beds. That literally looks like something straight out of a horror movie. Seriously, out of all the abandoned places there, that one looks like it would for sure be haunted. In our 7th spot today, we have the ghostly figure. There are tons of ghosts that haunt Chernobyl. I mean, any place where a huge tragedy takes place is bound to be haunted. In this case, the ghost was captured on live TV. So Sci-Fi Channel's Destination Crew went to Chernobyl and conducted a number of paranormal investigations. They even went to Reactor 4. While there, they saw a human figure appear on a thermal imaging camera. They believe that that is the soul of a worker that died from the explosion. They also checked out a number of abandoned hospitals and saw multiple figures moving throughout the hospital on the thermal imaging camera as well. Isn't that spooky? Moving on to number 6, we have the elephant's foot. The elephant's foot is a large mass of black scoria. It's named the elephant's foot because it's shaped sort of like an elephant's foot. Now, this thing is highly deadly. It emits high levels of radiation. Anyone exposed to it or near it could die from radiation poisoning. And guess what? Although it's not as active as it was back in the day, it is still generating heat and still melting down into the ocean. The scariest part, if it comes in contact with water, another explosion can occur. Now, eventually the elephant's foot will cool on its own, but even then, it will still remain highly radioactive. And no one should ever go near it. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the raccoon dog. This is a really freaking weird animal found in Chernobyl. When people first saw it, they actually thought the radiation caused a dog and a raccoon to just fuse together. Basically, they are found all throughout the exclusion zone, and they are thriving there. It's crazy to see how they have adapted to live in a highly radioactive area. Now, these things are freaking cute. In fact, they are the most observed animals in that area by scientists. Coming in at number 4, we have the firebugs. These are tiny but deadly radioactive bugs. They were discovered back in 2011 when 2 friends were out collecting flowers in the exclusion zone. Don't worry, they were doing this for scientific reasons, to study the pollen, not to just create a deadly radioactive bouquet of flowers. Anyways, while doing so, they came across these firebugs. They then went around collecting hundreds of these bugs, some from areas with higher levels of radiation and some from areas with lower radiation levels. In the end, they found that those exposed to higher levels of radiation had deformities. I mean, yeah, just as you suspected. Either way, you don't want those bad boys crawling on your skin for a number of reasons. In our 3rd spot today, we have the mutated wolves. The wolves from Chernobyl are another animal that are most commonly studied by scientists. In fact, some have been tagged with GPS collars to help track the levels of radioactivity there. Here's the thing. There was this whole scary legend going around. The wolves living there got mutated and were now highly aggressive and massive in size. There were stories being told of these massive wolves hunting down humans and attacking any and every animal. Turns out that this was false. But here's something interesting. Scientists believe that the wolves there have been mating with the dogs there. And in the end, they're creating these large dogs that look like wolves. It's pretty interesting. I want a wolf dog. Another interesting thing is that research has shown that the radiation isn't really affecting them. In fact, the wolf population is thriving there. As a result, they have concluded that humans have a greater negative impact on animals' lives than radiation does. Isn't that insane? It is said that there are around 300 wolves living in the exclusion zone. But again, like all the animals